Hi, everyone. Welcome to Hudson Canyon Live. I'm Kate Clemmer, coming to you from the NOAA Nancy Foster Research Vessel. Over the next 8 days, we're going to explore the vibrant ecosystems of Hudson Canyon and the dedicated researchers who make all of this work possible. So this is just a reminder for any questions that you might have throughout our time together today. Throw them in the chat right now, and I'll make some reminders along the way just to make sure we can get any of your curious questions answered. I want to also start with saying a really big thank you to the incredible crew and project partners for helping us bring this big adventure to life. So first off, thank you to NOAA's Northeast Science Fisheries Center, the Northwest Fisheries Science Center, the Office of Marine and Aviation Operations, the Ocean Exploration Cooperative Institute, and the Interspace Center at the University of Rhode Island. Our big idea today is diving into Hudson Canyon, learning about the research that we're going to be conducting there, and learning about all of the people who are going to make this work possible. So first off, we're going to learn from our chief scientist for the cruise, Dr. Meredith Everett, and talk about why we're here today.
Hello, I'm Meredith Everett. I'm the chief scientist out here on the Deep Sea Coral Research Initiative for the Northeast. We're on the Nancy Foster, and we're traveling to Hudson Canyon to do surveys for deep sea corals. It used to be in pre-Ice Age era a river valley, and now it's the largest submarine canyon on the East Coast. We're out here to do deep sea coral and live bottom habitat surveys. So Hudson Canyon is well known as kind of a local hotspot of biodiversity. It's well known for fishing, supporting fisheries. It's got North Atlantic right whales, a lot of things that are up in the water column, but very little has been done surveying the benthic, so the bottom habitat of the canyon. We have a little data from the head of the canyon, and we have what we call habitat models that tell us that we think there might be deep sea corals in this canyon. So not only are we going to be looking at the corals, we're also going to be looking at all the different animals that associate with and live on and in those deep sea coral communities. So we're going to be using a remotely operated vehicle, or an ROV, to go look deep, thousands of feet underwater at the seafloor in this canyon. And what we're really hoping to see are deep sea coral communities. So deep sea corals, you can kind of think of like the tropical corals. You would see big sea fans type structures, some possible reef structures if we're lucky. But these corals are different in that they don't require sunlight. They live their lives in complete darkness. So we're really excited to see what we see when we hit the bottom. We're really hoping to see diverse coral communities, so lots of different types of coral where you can see different colors, different animals living in the corals. But we're also excited even if we don't see the corals. We've got a biologist on board who's studying microbial communities in mud. So even if we end up in the mud to start a dive or during the dive, there's stuff to learn even in those habitats. So we're really excited to bring you all along and look forward to sharing the science with you as we go along.
Wow, it's really exciting to think about what we'll get to see on this cruise. Dr. Everett mentioned how the canyon was formed, and its deepest point reaches about 10,500 feet. So our goal is to actually use a remotely operated vehicle, or an ROV, and that's a word that you're going to hear over the next couple of weeks with us today is the word ROV. So our goal is to reach about 7,200 feet, which is actually the deepest that Hudson Canyon has ever been researched with an ROV. So it's something really special that you're going to get to see, and we're super excited to bring you along with us as well. So you also may have noticed that I'm on board a ship. So this is the NOAA Nancy Foster. Its home port is in Charleston, South Carolina, but that doesn't necessarily always mean that it's leaving from South Carolina. So we're actually here in Woods Hole, Massachusetts. You also might notice that we're actually at port right now. We're not currently at sea. Some of you might have tuned in to our first live stream ROV dive on Monday, but we actually had some unexpected weather that brought us back to port. And we're going to be heading back out later today. And that's just kind of what happens sometimes on board a research cruise. You have to pivot, you have to kind of improvise with your research plan, and the workers on board kind of have to do the same thing with us. So we're super glad that we're still able to come to you live today. But I want to talk a little bit about why Woods Hole is so important as a port for us. So Woods Hole, Massachusetts is home to some of the world's leading marine research institutions. So this has Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, the Marine Biological Laboratory, NOAA's Northeast Fisheries Science Center, and the U.S. Geological Survey's Coastal and Marine Center Science Center. So having so many organizations here is really just a center for collaboration, and having so many resources at your disposal makes it a really great port for us to kind of ship out of. So now that we've learned a little bit about the Nancy Foster's history, we're actually going to take a live ship tour on board. So we filmed this a couple days ago while we were actually at sea. So we're going to take you along now. Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Kate Clemmer coming to you live from the Nancy Foster ship. I have here Kiana, who is the navigation officer, who's going to take us on a tour of the Nancy Foster vessel. Yeah. Hi Kiana.
Hi Kate, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Great.
Can you tell us a little bit about the space that we're currently on right now?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're standing on the back deck of the vessel right now. This is where a lot of the operations take place when we're underway. As you can see, we've got a couple of big pieces of equipment around us. So to my right over here, we have the Global Explorer, which is the remotely operated vehicle or ROV that we've been diving with over the past couple of weeks. Behind us, we've got the giant winch. This is what we use to put that ROV into the water. So it's got a couple thousand meters of cable on it, which lets us put it down to about 3,000 meters down to the bottom of the sea floor. See tons of cool stuff down there. We've also got our massive crane over here, which is how we pick up this 1,000-pound ROV and put it into the water when we are getting ready to deploy it. We do lots of different types of operations on the Nancy Foster. So while today we're doing ROV operations, we're often a diving platform. When that happens, we've got small boats back here that we deploy divers on. So you'll see different boats back here as well. It's not uncommon to see lots of different types of scientific equipment back here, just depending on what we're researching on any given cruise.
What a cool space to be on.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people always have questions about where people eat and where people sleep. So do you want to go ahead and take us to the mess or cafeteria room?
Yeah, let's head inside.
All right. Come along. Wow, what an operation in here.
Yeah, so this is our mess deck. This is where the crew eats all of their meals. My favorite part about this space is the ice cream freezer, which is over there in that corner. It's definitely super critical to morale on a ship to have ice cream. But other than that, you might notice some kind of odd eclectic things about a ship's mess that's maybe a little different than a typical kitchen area. So we've got all of these tennis balls on the bottoms of our chairs. That's because people are living very close to this space, right? And people are living and sleeping and working 24 hours. So it's really important on a ship to keep the noise level down so that you can kind of manage people's sleep schedules. But we're super lucky on this ship. We have some super awesome cooks and stewards. We've always got soup available throughout the day. We've got salads. We've got all types of drinks in our coolers. It's overall, it's kind of where the space where the crew comes together.
Wow, I think a lot of times when people hear about food on a boat, they don't really think good things. But I can say that I've eaten some food on here and it's top notch.
It's better than what I cook at home, honestly.
I think me too. All right, awesome. So now we saw where people eat. Can we take a look at, I heard there's like a movie theater and also a space where people might exercise?
Yeah. Absolutely. You can't just work all the time. You have to have some downtime too.
Exactly.
So I'll take you guys down to the gym and then we'll check out our lounge area.
All right, awesome.
So this is our ship's lounge. This is where I spend quite a lot of time, especially when I'm on the night shift, just like hanging out with some of the deckies and watching movies in between shifts. Please don't tell my supervisor that I told you that. We've got some brand new beanbags in here that are super comfy to nap on. Tons of movies. Our ship store is also located in here. All NOAA ships have a ship store where scientists can come aboard and buy some swag. So we typically have like t-shirts, hats, stickers, toys, all kinds of stuff. This is also a little bit of a storage area. Ships are small places, and so storage is really utilized in every space. So you can see we've got bikes down here that crew take out once we do come into port. And we got extra coolers down here, fishing poles. That's old Skellebones in the corner. He's our most famous Halloween decoration. We'll be decorating the ship here in about 2 weeks, so we're excited to break him out again.
I was gonna ask about Skeleton. What about the person underneath?
Yeah, so this is our man overboard. So this is our Oscar. And Oscar sometimes goes in the water whenever we need to train on recovering a person from the water. So once every 3 months, We do a man overboard drill, and sometimes that'll be Oscar going overboard for us to pick up.
And you have to tell us about this treasure.
Oh, actually, I'm not permitted to tell you about the treasure chest. It's strictly for mariners. In special situations, we get to break that chest out. So if you're curious, you will have to apply to work and live on a NOAA ship.
Okay, fair enough. I'm going to test out one of the bean bags. Oh, 10 out of 10. All right, let's see this gym.
Sure, it's right this way.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, it's a pretty nice space.
Yeah, so this is probably one of the best gyms in the fleet. We've got some workout equipment for people to use. As you can see, even our gym is also a storage space, but I spend a lot of time down in this room. I feel like physical exercise really keeps you feeling happy and healthy when you're underway, especially because ships are small spaces. So just getting some time in to move around, move your body really helps make you feel good. We sometimes do workout competitions down here. The fish game on the rower is pretty popular. I don't know if anyone's ever played the fish game, but
I haven't.
10 out of 10 recommend.
Okay, good to know. Awesome. Well, what a cool space. So why don't we check out the upper deck and maybe some living quarters?
Yeah, sounds great.
All right.
We'll head this way.
Okay.
So we're up here on the O2 deck, which is where a lot of the officers live. Behind us is the CO and the XO stateroom. That's the commanding and executive officers. We're standing next to the stateroom of the operational officer. We're allowed to take a quick peek in here to see what that space looks like. Keep in mind, right, I think I've mentioned a few times, ships are small places, so our rooms here are pretty small.
Looks pretty cozy in there.
It's pretty cozy. I'm a fan of the bottom bunk. That's the one that I live in my stateroom.
And it's nice you have a porthole to be able to see some of the ocean.
Yeah, it's a good way to get a feel for what the weather's doing when you first get up in the morning.
Yeah.
All right, should we head out to the deck?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what is the part that we're standing on now? What is this whole section called?
Yeah, so this is O2. This is O2 level. So kind of how it works on this ship is we've got our whole deck, which is the one that's below the water line. Then we have the main deck, which is where scientists live. It's where the back deck is, where we started. It's also got our galley and our science labs. Then we have the O1 level. We do a lot of science outside on the O1 level. And then on the inside, it's where a lot of our deck, our engineers, our other crew live. Up here on the O2, this is all living quarters for officers and survey. And as we go up, there's only one more level to go to, and that's the bridge level. So we'll check that out next.
Would that also be called O3 or not just the bridge?
No, it's just the bridge.
Okay, just the bridge. All right, let's go on up.
So this is my favorite part of the Nancy Foster, this platform that we're standing on right now. We call this Steel Beach. We got some lounge chairs out here. We have a table. I like to come out here in really nice weather and have lunch or dinner just to get outside and see the sun and see what's going on. It gives us a really nice vantage point of the surrounding ocean, but also everything that's going on the vessel behind us.
Where did the name Steel Beach come from?
I think it came from so many people coming out here to get suntans, and the fact that it's all steel and no sand.
That's funny. This is definitely the place to be.
Yeah.
Great. All right, shall we take us to our final station, which is called what?
The bridge.
The bridge. We're heading to the bridge. All right, we're on our last stop. We're at the bridge. Please tell us what goes on in here.
So this is where we navigate the ship from. This is where we drive the ship, dock the ship, and where all the operations kind of start and stop. We can see what's going on with our wind, our sea state, our currents. There's a lot of sources of information on the bridge. It's kind of the brain of the ship. It's where all of the information comes to. And it's the job of the bridge watch officers to really digest that information and then make good informed decisions on how operations should proceed and where the ship should go at any given time.
Great. Well, I think that wraps our tour. Thank you so much for your time. We learned a lot.
Yeah, thanks guys for being aboard the Nancy Foster with us today.
Thank you. Wow, I'm really glad we got to take you on a tour. It's really exciting to get a better understanding of how a ship works and life at sea. It made me laugh because Officer Kiana was so steady when she was standing, but the boat was like shaking like this and I could barely hold my footing. So it really kind of just shows you what experience gets you out at sea. This is just a reminder to please throw some questions into the chat and we'll get to them during our Q&A time. We'd also love to hear where you're all tuning in from. So if you want to put your city, state, just so we have a better idea of who we're bringing into our live stream today. So of course, this isn't always just about the ship. It's about the amazing people who are here doing the science. So we're going to meet one of our graduate students on board, Adrian Castillo, who is getting hands-on research and experience in Hudson Canyon.
Hi, I'm Adrian Castillo. I'm a PhD student over at SUNY ESF, here to help out in this voyage here. It's my first time out at sea. I can say as a student, I feel as though I am the least knowledgeable and qualified person on board, but that also means I have so much to learn and maybe I have the most to get out of this. So I'm so excited to be out here and really, I think as a student and probably as a scientist, you spend so much time reading and looking at numbers, but to be out at sea and to really see what your numbers are talking about and what they actually mean in the real world is really, it's something that cannot be bought. Once I finally get my samples, and fingers crossed we get some samples back to land, I'm going to be running what's called an LICP-MS, which stands for Laser Ablation Ductily Coupled Plasma Mass Spectrometry. It's a chemical analysis that allows us to measure the trace elements found in the skeletons of the corals, and that gives us an idea of what kind of environments these corals were exposed to during their lifetime, and just get a general sense of what's really happening down there, since we can't always be at sea, we can't always be here, unfortunately, watching these spaces as they grow over time, especially for coral, which can live several hundred years. Yeah, I've seen corals before, mostly through those YouTube live streams and things like that. What I'm really excited about, outside of seeing all these corals in real time, is really just seeing the behind the scenes. Getting to see how an ROV works, the actual engineers, getting to talk to them, and seeing the whole process from the ground up, because what we end up seeing as in the public sphere is really just the end product of these things.
I really love hearing about how the next generation of scientists are diving into work, and quite literally sometimes as well. So another exciting part of our team is the work being done with eDNA, or environmental DNA, which helps us detect and study marine life by analyzing genetic material that's left behind. So here's more from our habitat ecologist and eDNA specialist, Dave Packer.
My name is Dave Packer. I'm from the NOAA Northeast Fisheries Science Center of the National Marine Fisheries Service, based out of Sandy Hook, New Jersey. And I'm on this expedition because of my interests in habitat ecology. One of the tools that we use to get a handle on what the habitat is like is called eDNA. The E stands for environmental DNA, and it's the genetic material that all organisms shed without knowing it, skin, hair, scales, waste products, that sort of thing, into the environment. And what we do is we collect water samples down at the bottom where we're interested in at depth, bring it back up, filter it so that the only thing that is left is the DNA from what was ever out there. And since I'm a habitat ecologist, I want to know, all the animals that are out there and what they're doing, etc. And then we take it back to the lab and try and mix it up with known databases of eDNA samples from organisms. And this way, gives us a tool to find out who's down there without actually even having to look for them, because their eDNA is in the environment surrounding it. An ROV is nice, and I love the live action of seeing animals for the first time. The fact that we can also figure out what's there without having to look and even go down there, just collect water samples, is a new and exciting field and gives a handle on biodiversity. So it's pretty technical, but the easiest part is actually just filtering the water and collecting the eDNA on the surface paper. But it's definitely one of the best ways that I know, especially going forward, of getting a handle on the biodiversity of an ecosystem.
That is such a powerful tool for discovery, to really learn about what animals are leaving behind. And we might not even get to see those animals while we have an ROV down there, but we can still, test the water and learn from them even without actually seeing them with our eyes. So now we're going to transition into our Q&A. So we've shared a lot about our ship, a lot about our science. So we'd love to hear from you. So I'm just going to start kind of reading through the chat and answering some of our questions that we have today. And I also love hearing about where we're coming from. A lot of folks, looks like they're tuning in from New York City. I see some of the zoos, Bronx Zoo, New York Aquarium. We have NYSMIA, New York State Marine Educators Association. So really happy that so many of us were able to tune in today. So someone asked, how far offshore is the canyon from New York or New Jersey? So it is about 100 miles off the shore of New York and New Jersey. And you can actually see it if you look on like Google Earth, Google Maps, anything like that. If you kind of just scroll out a little bit from the coastlines of New Jersey and New York, you'll be able to see the center canyon, which would be Hudson Canyon. Let's see what else we've got. Lots of hellos. Great to see you. Could we see some of the other people on board? So we are gonna, this is our first live stream, right? So we've got a lot of things queued up for Friday, our second live stream. We have one coming in on Tuesday and then another one next Thursday. So today is kind of just a taste of everything that we're gonna get to see. So, we tried to show a little bit of the ship, a little taste of some of our research that we're going to be conducting. And as we get further down the way, we're going to have a lot more footage and things like that to share with you on board and what's happening kind of down below with our ROV. Someone asked, can we see the controls of the ROV tools? So in that previous clip with Dave Packer, you saw like the ROV's robotic arms kind of reaching out and grabbing samples that way and putting them into the cups that are on the side and in the front. Yep, so there we go. We got the video playing that way. So that is how a lot of those sediment, coral, and mud samples are being taken. And on Friday, that live stream is going to be totally focused on the ROV operations and the science behind that as well. So we'll get to a really close-up look with that and the scientists on board that's their sole purpose and job. Let's see what else. Someone is asking, what about the daily ROV live streams? Are they postponed? So yes, thank you for bringing that up. So as I said before, we did get some bad weather coming, so we had to actually return back to port in Massachusetts. So we're heading back out today. So we should have our ROV daily live feed stream back up to run tomorrow. So we'll again be posting like updates on our social media and the NOAA Sanctuary's website for any things that might change with weather or timing. But all of the hosted live streams with me, so that's today, Friday, next Tuesday, and next Thursday, those will all still stay no matter the weather or things like that, just because we have, a lot of content to share regardless. It's just those daily ROV streams that might shift in timing or things like that. But yes, so the one yesterday was canceled, and then the one obviously today, we're not there yet, so we don't have anything to show for today. Let's see what other questions we've got. Will this be able to view on the live after? Yes. So these will stay on the YouTube page, so you can review it. You can, go to any footage piece that you would like, and they'll live on the Facebook as well. So if you or a friend missed it today, no issues there. Just looking through some other questions. What kind of coral species are you anticipating seeing? So for that one, I'm not a coral scientist, so I don't know the exact types that we'll be seeing, but we'll be hearing from our coral scientists this coming stream on Friday, and they'll be able to give you a complete deep dive into all of those specific species that you'll be seeing. Does the ROV have a name? Yes, it does. So this ROV is called the Global Explorer. This is actually a really interesting ROV as its capabilities. It can go pretty deep into the ocean. And we've showed a little bit of clips of the ROV and just the sheer size of it. So this thing can weigh, I think it's like 7,500 pounds. So very heavy, need a very strong crane to be able to hoist it into the water and a weight to keep it down below as well while it's kind of conducting its research. But yeah, this thing is about 9 feet wide or 4 feet wide, 9 feet tall. Yeah, it's huge. So you can see here that it's a beast of a machine, and it has all those robotic capabilities with its arms. It's got a bunch of different cameras on there, lights as well. And if you tuned into some of that live feed that happened on Monday, and you can still review it on our YouTube, you'll be able to see like the clarity of what we saw down below, which was really, really amazing. And let's see what else we got. It does look like Wall-E, especially with the robotic arms and then the eyes that are the camera. Will you be taking any samples of the marine organisms? Yes, we will be taking those samples. And again, we saw some clips of the ROV actually collecting those samples. And then what happens is they come back up to shore at the end of the dive. Our scientists will, once the ROV is safely docked on board, the scientists will have to quickly grab everything, make sure it's stored properly, because those types of organisms can die really quickly. So they have to make sure that they're still in the water and they get them where they need to be. And then they start working on that collection in the evening. So we'll have, some footage from that over the next 8 days or so. And we'll be able to share that all with you. And again, on Friday, we're going to have like a much closer look at exactly how the science is conducted with these coral, sediment, and mud species. All right. So I'm not seeing any more questions, but thank you so much for tuning in. We're really happy to share this adventure with you and, bring a little bit of sea life to your homes. But this really is just the beginning. So on Friday, 19th at noon, we'll be back to do a deep dive with the most exciting tool. So again, this is with our remotely operated vehicle, the Global Explorer, and we'll get to show like an up close process of how we process those sediment, coral, and mud samples as well. So we're actually going to share a sneak peek of what's coming up. So I'll pass it over now.
Back deck copies, we're picking up the ROV now. Coming up.
All right. So if you want to see the rest of that footage, you're going to have to come back on Friday, and we can't wait to share more with you. Until then, thank you for joining Hudson Canyon Live, and we'll see you Friday.